Good morning, everyone. It is January 15th, 2019. Today I read in 1 Kings chapter 2. And it's a long chapter, but I'm going to paraphrase because what the Lord gave me was, it's very, it's good. It's something that we all need to ask ourselves quite often, actually. But just a little background. It's talking about King David, and he's getting close to death. He's older. He's about to die. And so, although he has all these other sons that are before Solomon, Solomon is the son that David had with Bathsheba. And Bathsheba was an affair. That's a whole nother story, because if you remember, Bathsheba was the wife of one of the soldiers in David's army. Big long story. Anyway, he lusted after her. He took her. It was a sin. He lost a child because of it. But then Solomon was born with Bathsheba. David had other sons. Absalom. I can't pronounce his name. Hold on. What is it? Let me find it. Adonijah, something like that. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But there were more sons that were supposed to be in line for the throne. But God had chosen Solomon to take the throne. And so David brings Solomon to him, and he's talking to him. This is the first part of chapter 2. And I want to read the first few verses. Now the days of David drew nigh that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be strong, therefore, and show thyself a man. And keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments, and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whithersoever thou turnest thyself, or wherever you go. That the Lord may continue his word which he spake concerning me, saying, If thy children take heed to their way, to walk before me in truth with all their heart and with all their soul, there shall not fail thee, said he, a man on the throne of Israel. Moreover, okay, so he says, it's time for you to step up. It's time for you to be a king. I need you to, do the Lord, follow God. And if you keep his, walk in his way and keep his commandments and follow the law that he's set forth, then he'll be with you wherever you go, whatever you do, and he'll continue the promise that he gave me, that there'll always be a man on the throne of Israel. Okay. Then he tells about a couple of people that he needs to deal with. Verse 5. Moreover, thou knowest also what Joab, the son of Zeruiah, did to me, and what he did to the two captains of the host of Israel, unto Abner the son of Ner, and unto Amasa the son of Jether, whom he slew, and shed the blood of war in peace, and put the blood of war upon his girdle that was about his loins, and his shoes that were on his feet. So Joab had slain Abner and Amasa in times of peace. So he had murdered them, basically. Okay. So in verse 6, David says, Do therefore according to thy wisdom, and let not his hoar head go down to the grave in peace. In other words, don't let him die in peace, but you do, the Lord didn't let me take care of it, but you do in your wisdom what the Lord tells you to do. Okay. Verse 7, But show kindness unto the sons of Barzillai the Gileadite, and let them be of those that eat at thy table, for so they came to me when I fled because of Absalom thy brother. Okay, Absalom was one of the older brothers, one of the older sons of David. Okay, so he's supposed to be kind to the sons of this person. Verse 8, And behold, thou hast with thee Shimei the son of Gera, a Benjamite of Bahurim, which cursed me with a grievous curse in the day when I went to Mahanaim. But he came down to meet me at Jordan, and I swear to him by the Lord, saying, I will not put thee to death with the sword. Alright, so he says, you got this guy, and he put a curse on me, but I promised him by God that I would not put him to death. Okay, I wouldn't kill him. Verse 9, now therefore hold him not guiltless, for thou art a wise man, and knowest what thou oughtest to do unto him. But his whorehead bring thou down to the grave with blood. Okay, so he's saying, I kept my promise, but you're wise, and you are not me. You have no, but, make sure you take care of him, basically, is what he said. Verse 10, so David slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David. Okay, so David died, okay? So, he tells Solomon about these people, okay? Well then, paraphrasing now because it's a lot. Then his brother Adonijah, whatever. He goes to Bathsheba, Solomon's mother, and asks her to go to Solomon and ask for a certain woman to be his wife. And Bathsheba says, because he says that Solomon won't say no to his mother. Okay. So Bathsheba says, yeah, I'll go to him. So Bathsheba goes before him, and he's happy to see her. He sits on his throne and has a throne come and set for her to sit in. And they chat, and she comes before him, and she says, say, I have a request of thee, and don't, say, I pray thee don't tell me no. And she says, let this woman be given to thy brother Adonijah to wife. And Solomon answered and said unto his mother, and why dost thou ask Abishag the Shunammite for Adonijah? Ask for him the kingdom also, for he is mine elder brother, even for him, and for Abiathar the priest, and for Joab the son of Jeruiah. Then King Solomon sware by the Lord, saying, God do so to me, and more also, if Adonijah have not spoken this word against his own life. Now therefore, as the Lord liveth, which hath established me, and set me on the throne of David my father, and who hath made me an house, as he promised, Adonijah shall be put to death this day. And King Solomon sent by the hand of Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, and he fell upon him that he died. Okay, so he killed his brother, because his brother, I don't know the significance of this, of what he asked. I don't know, but evidently it was something that he should not have asked, and Solomon saw right through Bathsheba's request that, it was actually his brother, and trying to, get things through his mother, and he put him to death. Evidently what he asked was an offense and to God and to the nation or whatever, and he killed his own brother, okay? Then... You remember Joab had killed the two captains during a time of peace. Well, if you go on, it starts talking about how he tells Abiathar, the priest, the king, Solomon tells Abiathar to get to his own fields, go home. He says, you are worthy of death, but I will not at this time put you to death, because you bear the ark of God before David my father, and because thou hast been afflicted in all wherein my father was afflicted. So this other guy needed to be put to death, but he said he's worthy of death, but because you bear the ark of God with David and you were with him, I'm not going to put you to death, but I want you to go home and get out of my sight, basically, okay? So Solomon, okay, he took him away from being the priest. Okay, now Joab. So, Joab fled into the tabernacle when he heard that Adonijah had been killed, okay? Joab flees into the tabernacle of the Lord, and it says he caught hold on the horns of the altar. All right, so basically he goes in there and he said, I'm not leaving. And Solomon sends Benaiah in there and he says, tell him to come out, and when he comes out, I want you to kill him, because earlier when it says if a man sheds blood, by man shall his blood be shed. So this is part of the law. Because Joab shed these two men's blood as murder, as a time of peace, it wasn't an act of war, then he needed to die. So he goes in there and he's like, come out. And he's like, no, I'll die right here. If you're going to kill me, you're going to kill me in the tabernacle. And he's thinking that, well, they're not going to kill me in church, right? So Benaiah goes back to the king and says, look, he won't come out. And Solomon says, okay, we'll go back in there, kill him there, take him out and bury him, because it's on his own head. It's not going to be on yours. The Lord wants him dead, Okay. So in verse 33 and 34, their blood shall therefore return upon the head of Joab and upon the head of his seed forever. But upon David, and upon his seed, upon his house, and upon his throne, there shall be peace forever from the Lord. So Benaiah the son of Jehoiada went up and fell upon him and slew him, and he was buried in his own house in the wilderness. So he killed Joab. And then the king put Benaiah in his place over the captain. So Joab was no longer the captain of the army or whatever that he's talking about here. And then he put Zadok, the priest, in the room of Abiathar. So he cleaned house. He cleaned he got rid of the ungodly priests. He got rid of the murderous captain of the guard, basically. And then there was Shimei, the guy that had put the curse on David, but David had told him he wasn't going to kill him, right? So then, if you keep reading, Solomon calls for Shimei and says, don't live where you're living. I want you to build you a house in Jerusalem. As long as you stay in Jerusalem. Now remember, there's walls around Jerusalem, okay? And gates and all this other stuff. He says, as long as you stay in Jerusalem, I will not kill you. Okay? As long as you stay in these walls and don't go anywhere else, you're fine. I know what you did. Okay? I know what you did. But as long as you stay here, you're fine. So he's there for a while, long time, right? Well, then two of his servants leave, and they flee to Gath, wherever Gath is. I don't know. I don't have the map. Okay. Well, when it's told to this guy that his servants went to Gath, what does he do? Okay. Even though he swore by the Lord he would stay there, okay, so that he wouldn't die. Because he says, For it shall be that on the day that thou goest out and passest over the brook of Kidron, thou shalt know for certain that thou shalt surely die, for thy blood shall be upon thine own head. So he says, for as soon as you leave and you cross over this brook of Kidron, all bets are off, you will die. It's on your own hands then. I've told you what you can do to stay alive. It's on you to do it. Okay. So as soon as he hears that his servants are in Gath, guess what he does? He leaves and goes to Gath to get his two servants. Instead of trying to find servants elsewhere or just doing things himself, he leaves. I'm like, how stupid can you be, right? Okay, look at verse 46. He come back. And he says, why then, 43, why then hast thou not kept the oaths of the Lord and the commandment that I have charged thee with? The king said, moreover, to Shimei, thou knowest all the wickedness which thine heart is privy to, that thou didst to David my father. Therefore the Lord shall return thy wickedness upon thine own head. And King Solomon shall be blessed, and the throne of David shall be established before the Lord forever. So the king commanded Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, which went out and fell upon him, and he died. And the kingdom was established in the hand of Solomon. So here, I'm about to pull all this together. David, before he died, sat down with Solomon, and he told him about these people, okay? And Solomon already knew about his brother Adonijah, okay? He told him basically do what the Lord tells you to do with these people. Okay. Solomon did this. At the end, it says that his kingdom was established forever. Solomon went through and cleaned house. Now, David was a man after God's own heart, okay? But David sinned. David sinned greatly, okay? And he paid for it greatly. He was not allowed to build a temple. He was not allowed to, he lost a son. His sons fought with each other and died and killed each. I mean, it was bad. Okay, but God still loved him. But it took the death of David and the beginning of the reign of Solomon to clean out the house of God, the armies of God, the kingdom of God. All right. This is what the Lord gave me today. Each one of these people that had to be killed because of something they did in the past can represent something in our lives that maybe we need to clean out from our past, from our present. So the question is, you know, what do we need to clean out of our spiritual house today? You know, he cleaned out the tabernacle and put a new priest and whatnot, you know, in place. Do you need a spiritual house cleaning today? I know I'll be praying today because this is what the Lord gave me. I'll be praying to find out if there's something that I need to clean out. This is something we need to ask ourselves probably on a daily, or at least, you know, yeah, a daily basis. Or at night when we go to bed, you know, Lord, is there something that that I don't remember about today that I need to get cleaned out before I go to sleep, you know? So just ask yourself, you know, Lord, do I need a cleaning like Solomon did? If so, help me. So that's, you know, it was just neat to me to see how David was not allowed to clean his own house. That, you know, the Lord had to, you know, he had to wait. And he was not allowed to see the cleaning out of his own kingdom and whatnot. That he had to die before, and everything had to start fresh, basically. Please don't have to die spiritually or physically before your family or your life starts with a clean slate. You know, go ahead and get things right with God now. Get your family in line with God now. Take control of your life. Not control, but take back control from Satan. Give control to God in whatever area, or your whole life, whatever it may be. Okay? So just, the question is, does your life need a spiritual house cleaning? Thank you for joining me today. Hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks.